Hey, what's up, guys? This is David Chase Taylor of 911truther.org. Today is July 23rd of 2026. So, based on breaking news and events, it appears that CIA headquarters located beneath CERN at Lake Geneva in Switzerland is going to greenlight an Israeli special forces-based coup d'etat in the United States on the date of July 24th of 2026, specifically to assassinate U.S. President Donald J. Trump and spawn the presidency of one J.D. Vance. So, of course, this impending coup d'etat in the United States is going to be executed under the guise of an America First, anti-Semitic, neo-Nazi, white supremacist, domestic terror group, and/or armed militia-based attack, when in reality it's likely going to be executed by Israeli special forces such as Amman, Mista Ariv, Mossad, Oz Brigade, Sariyet, Shin Bet, etc., wearing American militia attire, black ski mask, and GoPros while waving American flags with Nazi symbology or Nazi flags. Essentially, what the CIA is planning on doing is overthrowing the Trump administration under the guise of a Nazi revenge attack, which I'm going to get into in a second. The impending or the motive that was provided in the United States Congress just 2 days ago. But this impending attack is going to target Washington, D.C., the greater national capital region, such as the White House in D.C., the U.S. Capitol building in D.C., the Pentagon in Arlington, Virginia, CIA headquarters in Langley, Virginia, FBI headquarters in Washington, D.C., the FBI Academy in Camp Barrett, Virginia, Camp Peary, or Perry, the CIA Farm, as they call it, in Williamsburg, Virginia, and or the Supreme Court of the United States building in Washington, D.C. Other potential locations include, but it's not limited to, United States Capitol buildings across the country, United States Armed Forces related military installations in Washington, D.C. and or across the country, mass transit related entities such as airports, subways, or tourist attractions across the United States. What's imperative to note here is that this impending attack is specifically designed to remove Donald J. Trump from power and also spawn a second global biological pandemic as pretext for a second American Civil War. So the United States has been slated to be balkanized. They want to break it up into a bunch of different countries because it's become too big to control. And so this coup is going to be executed by Israel at the behest of Switzerland, which is the first Jewish state and the third Jewish state of Israel. So they're going to be working in tandem. So for those of you that don't follow politics closely, the CIA has created this narrative in the United States over the last few weeks with the passage of it's called the H.R. 8800, the National Defense Authorization Act, NDAA, for the fiscal year of 2027, which was just passed by the House of Representatives back on July 22nd of 2026. This particular bill has a clause in it called Article 219, which essentially merges parts of the United States military with that of Israel. That is obviously, we all know that the State Department has the flag or the Star of David. We know that basically that Israel has been running through Kissinger and through various Zionists in the United States government. The United States presidents have basically acquiesced to whatever Israel wants for the last 30, 40, 50 years since basically the assassination of J.F. Kennedy. So that's nothing new, but they're putting it in paper and they're putting it past it through the House of Representatives because they're trying to create a timely motive for a revenge attack targeting the United States government. So what they're basically trying to sell is that the United States government has now been hijacked by the state of Israel, which we already knew, but by the military of Israel, and this is designed to be the timely motive for this impending coup d'etat. So the date of July 24th also marks 66 days since America First Congressman Thomas Massey of Kentucky lost to an AIPAC-backed candidate named El Galerian back on May 19th. Obviously, the number 66 or 26 is 26, which equates to the letter Z, which is an acronym for Zionism, and that is the political motivation behind this impending coup. It also marks 72 days since H.R. 8800 was introduced by U.S. Congressman Mike Rogers of Alabama back on May 13th of 2026. And of course, it marks 550 days since Donald J. Trump became president of the United States and subsequently pardoned 1,200 Proud Boys members that were allegedly guilty of the attack on the U.S. Capitol. And of course, the number 550, because the number 5 is symbolically an S, this is SS. And so this is the Nazi numerology, because the Nazis that are in Switzerland are going to have the Ashkenazis of the Israeli military execute a coup in the United States, essentially a Night of the Long Knives-like military coup in the United States. So they're going to do it on their SS numerology. And that SS numerology is the de facto name of CIA headquarters in Switzerland, which is ISIS or SS. That is why the precursor to the CIA was called the OSS. And it also marks 1,340 days since Donald J. Trump hosted a dinner at his Mar-a-Lago estate with Nick Fuentes back on November 22nd of 2022. And of course, the 1340 numerology is the pi numerology of 3.14, which is reflected in the 16-pointed star of the CIA. So, of course, this has what's called reflective numerology. It also marks 1,449 days since the CIA executed Operation Breaking Dawn, which was the IDF's activation of 25,000 reserve forces that are slated to invade and occupy Washington, D.C. and or the Greater National Capital Region under the guise of a Nazi attack. That is why the Nazi, let's say, riots or protests or march in Ohio and Virginia and other locations over the past couple of years, they've all featured black men wearing black with masks, because these are Jews, these are Israelis, so they have to cover their identity unless they be detected, and then they're flying red swastika flags. So this is their plan, is to basically march out and under the guise of an organized domestic militia or neo-Nazi coup, when in reality it's going to be Israeli soldiers that are going to be occupying the capital of the United States under the guise of a militia occupation. So they're basically going to be wearing Carhartt, they're going to be flying American flags along with the Nazi flags, they're going to be wearing cowboy hats. It's all a charade, it's all planned, and then they're going to kill Trump, overthrow the U.S. government, and then either J.D. Vance or Barack Hussein Obama is going to come to the rescue. And the date of July 24th coincidentally marks 2,025 days since the CIA staged the attack on the U.S. Capitol back on January 6th of 2021. We know this was a false flag, but that event and the subsequent lockdown of the Capitol provided the logistics cover for this impending attack, which is going to be CBRN in nature. It's chemical, biological, radiological, or nuclear in nature. They're going to claim that the militia unleashed a airborne biological contagion as pretext for a second biological pandemic, because they want to lock everything down and then kill their enemies under the guise of a second global biological pandemic. And so that's what we're going to see happen starting on Friday, July 24th of 2026. So how this is going to play out is obviously not known, but I would imagine that as the Israeli operation entitled Operation Breaking Dawn suggests in his name, I suspect that around 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning on July 24th of 2026, Israeli commandos, likely who arrived to the United States via German-made Dolphin-class submarines of the Israeli Navy, likely docked off the coast of the United States or at one of our naval bases, are going to infiltrate Washington, D.C. And then they're going to surround the White House, they're going to storm it, and they're going to set it on fire, and they're going to kill Trump, and then they're going to lock everything down. And anybody that questions anything about this is going to be labeled a Nazi. That's why one of the reasons why they've been calling Trump a Nazi for 10 years is because they plan on staging an American neo-Nazi coup. And then anybody that questions the veracity or the validity of what they're saying, they're going to be labeled a Nazi. And that is why they have people like Nick Fuentes, who are basically CIA operatives. Nick Fuentes is a Jew, and he's a closet Zionist, and he is basically upping the rhetoric online to make it appear as if there's this Nazi movement in the United States. And this is all part of a massive operation that's been basically was birthed with the presidency of Donald J. Trump, with the Charlottesville, with them taking his comments out of context regarding the Nazi attack targeting the protesters in Charlottesville, Virginia. Everything with Kanye West and his whole Nazi charade that he did, because Kanye West was coincidentally at that meeting with Nick Fuentes at Mar-a-Lago back in 2022. So they have created this narrative, and that is why they have created, they made the assassination of Charlie Kirk very messy, and Israel's fingerprint is all over it. This is designed to basically to demonize, because they could have made it clean, they could have killed Charlie Kirk in a car accident, but they did it in purpose in front of everybody, and then they have Israel's fingerprints all over it because they want to foment a revolution in the United States that they will predictably label anti-Semitic, because anybody that goes against Israel will be labeled anti-Semitic, and that is exactly what the NDAA legislation, which was just passed by the House 2 days prior to the date of the 24th, is designed to invoke some sort of grassroots revolution against the state of Israel. We all know that the CIA is a global entity, and they just play one country off against each other, and this is exactly what they're doing, trying to play Israel off the United States, because Israel, due to their live stream genocide of the Gaza Strip, has lost public favor in the United States. So obviously, in the aftermath of this video, it's highly likely, virtually certain, that the CIA is going to stage terror attacks in the United States that will be executed by the Israeli Mossad special forces that are now in the United States, or docked or inside of a submarine ready to storm the capital of the United States. So this may be executed under the guise of Iranian, Hezbollah, Hamas, Al-Qaeda, ISIS, etc. But that's likely Plan B for the date of July 24th. We have to remember that number 24 equates the letter X, which is known internationally as the symbol of death, because that is what the Israeli Mossad is going to rain down upon the United States on July 24th, as I've detailed in these videos. So obviously, if this happens, I would kindly ask that you download this video and share it with local, state, and federal law enforcement, military, and intelligence officials, as well as with local, national, and international media.